Hello everyone, welcome to Jacob's channel, and in today's video for the tutorial we're going to be covering mouse input. So yeah, let me just open this and let's dive into it. That being just taking its time as usual. And yeah, we're done. So we're gonna go ahead and inside the input class and input folder, input package, we're going to create a new class and call it and name it mouse input. Done. And there we go. So when you think about a mouse, the type of input we have on a mouse is we can scroll the mouse wheel, we can click buttons on the mouse, and we can move the mouse to basically show the position of the cursor. And so yeah, so we're going to implement the interface. So we're going to, as we did with the key input, we implemented a key listener interface. So instead of the mouse input, we're going to implement the mouse listener, a mouse wheel listener, and a mouse movement listener, mouse motion. Implement mouse wheel listener. That's going to be listening for the mouse wheel, any mouse wheel movement. We're going to have a mouse motion listener, and also we're going to have a mouse listener. And we just have to import it. So yeah, so these are the class, this is the inputs, this is the packages where they belong in. They all belong in the java.awt.event package. So now let's just implement all the abstract methods, and there we go. Now I'm gonna explain to you what every one of these methods is and what does it mean. So yeah, let me just clear all of this stuff. And yeah, so the first method we have is the mouse wheel moved, which basically belongs to the mouse wheel listener, and it basically detects whether a mouse is whether the mouse wheel is moved. That's it. That's all it does. The next one is the mouse dragged. It basically detects whether the mouse is dragged, whether you're dragging the mouse. And what's the difference between dragging and moving? When dragging, you click on a button and then you move your mouse. So mouse move detects whether you moved your mouse, and there's a mouse clicked, whether you clicked your mouse. What a click is, they're rapid presses. It's more than one press, so they're rapid. Like I can do double click, triple click, so that's a click. Now there's a mouse pressed event. Basically it detects whether I press a kick a button when I press one button. So yeah, and there's mouse released method. So this basically detects whenever I release a mouse button. There's a mouse entered event that basically detects whether I entered a window with a mouse. For example, let me just run the program. And yeah, so a mouse entered event will only be triggered if I move my mouse into the window. And if I exit the mouse, if the cursor exits outside of the window, a mouse exited event will be triggered. So yeah, now let's get started. So to add these stuff into your into the frame or the window, we're going to add it to the canvas as we did with the key input listener. So we're just going to say public static mouse input and we just have to import that import the class. Now once we're done creating a global variable, we can go inside the initialize method and instantiate the mouse input. So we're just going to say mouse input equals to new mouse input. And we're done, and we're just going to say now here's the tricky part. Since we implement multiple listeners onto the mouse input class, we can just say we add every single listener. We're gonna add mouse input as a listener each single time. So a mouse input is actually a mouse wheel listener. At the same time, it's also a mouse motion listener as well as a mouse listener. So let's get back to the display and yeah. So canvas add mouse listener, and we're gonna add mouse input. Now we're gonna go canvas add mouse wheel listener, and then we're gonna say it's mouse input, and then we're gonna say canvas add mouse motion listener, and we're gonna set that to mouse input, and we're done. Let's just save that. Now let's get into the mouse input class. Now for the mouse wheel event, basically what we can do actually is process the amount of turns we have moved the wheel. So we can simply display system.out.println e.get scroll amount. So yeah, there's lots of things you need to scroll. Yeah, get wheel rotation. So this is so there's also other stuff, but mostly what I usually use it for is to get scroll amount. And yeah, so if you scroll it one way, it's going to be positive, and if you scroll it the other way, it's going to be negative. Now the mouse dragged event, it's not that much useful, I guess, but yeah, it's basically for detecting drags, and we're not going to be detecting drags anyways, so we're just going to leave that out. Now we have a mouse moved event. So what we can do is we can get the X and Y position of the mouse movement. So I can just say system.out.println e.get X on screen, and there's Y on screen, and just get X. And there's Y on screen. Now the difference is when we run this, get X will be relevant to the window, and if say get X on screen will be relevant to the screen. So this position will be 0, 0, and then this one will be 140 by 900. But if I do this, this will be 0 and 0. If I put it here, it should be 640 and something around there, as you can see on the output right over there inside the output window. And yeah, so we can also do other stuff. Mouse clicked. We can detect the click amounts, but we're not going to use clicked. We're not going to be using mouse clicked event. Let me just end this. We can also do the mouse pressed event, so we can detect whether we right click or left click A right click will be, now let me just do this, system. So here this is a little bit tricky, so we're gonna store a value as an integer, and we're just gonna say e.getButton. We're just simply gonna say that, and yeah. So now what we're gonna say is if e.getButton equals to, if e.getButton is equal to what? The first button is mouse event dot button 1. So this is the left click, I guess. And we're just going to display a short message saying we left clicked. Left click. Mostly, and Control V. And right click is button 3. And a middle mouse, I think it's button 2. The middle, like the click with the wheel, with the mouse wheel. We're just gonna say middle click. And this will be right click. And if we run it, left click, right click. If I press the middle mouse, it's a middle click. So yeah. Now you can get we can get more buttons. For example, let me just say this mouse event. Let me just show you this mouse event dot. You can get button 3, button 4. Is there button 4? No. But in some mice, like the gamer mice, there's like 4. There's 5 buttons. There's 2 extra buttons on the sides. So yeah. Now we're gonna get into the button released. So it's the same principle as the mouse pressed. So we can just copy the code and then paste it inside here. It's the same principle really. So it's just going to detect which button was released. So yeah, instead of saying left click pressed, we're going to say left release. Release and some more release. If I run it, I left click, and if I release it, it's gonna be a left click. Damn it. See, left click release. So yeah, so that's how release works. And this mouse entered and mouse exited. So we're simply just gonna send it out of print line. We entered our window and we exited our window. So see, we entered our window and the mouse is inside. We entered, and when we leave, it's gonna say we exited. And if we enter again, we exited. So yeah, so this is the basic mouse input class. And yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and comment every single line of code here. And yeah, so this is it for this tutorial, guys. And before you leave, please like, subscribe so that you don't miss out on new content whenever I upload. And yeah, peace. So the next video, I'm gonna get started with the input, with creating an input manager so it can help us. Sorry about that, there was just some noise in the background and I had to deal with it. So yeah, and yeah, so guys, as I was saying, peace. And just as always, the source code will be linked down in the description. So yeah.